Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Sardone. I've been a product trainer in the industry for many, many years, and I specialize in the areas of internal combustion engines, EVs, and customer experience, which is what this show is all about. So today, I'm going to kick it off on a big one. If you are one of those consultants out there or one of those managers that are walking around like, well, I'm a great closer, I want you to really think about something, because if your closing ratio depends on what you do before you move that customer on over to finance, you already lost the deal, because the real closers, they don't lose at the desk. Actually, they win way more than you may think, but it's silent how they go about it, because they're closing during needs assessment, not with pressure, not with slick words or tactics, not with urgency or gimmicks or taking the car away. They close with clarity. And today I want to break down exactly what that means, because if you understand this little shift, your objection rate drops and your confidence rises, and your customers stop saying that dreaded, "We need to think about it." Most salespeople think closing is an event. It is this dramatic moment after the test drive where we lean into the customer and we say things like, "So, are you ready to move forward? If the numbers are correct, will you take the vehicle home today?" Let me fill you in on something. That's not closing. That's hoping and giving the farm away. And I'm not in for that. Closing is not persuasion. It's alignment based on your efforts and the relationship that you have with the customer. If you do discovery correctly, the close feels completely natural. If you do it lazily, the close feels super pushy and somewhat awkward, and then all of a sudden you're gutting the deal. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most objections are not price objections, but yet we try to solve this with, again, throwing money out the window. Most of these things, they're actually clarity problems. If the customer cannot clearly explain to themselves why this vehicle fits their life, they'll hesitate. They'll move right back and they'll go, no. And hesitation, it's not resistance. The reason that the customer's pushing back is because hesitation is uncertainty, and uncertainty always wins when it rears its head. So let's zoom out for a quick second here and really take a look at why customers walk in the dealerships. Customers don't walk in the dealerships feeling confident. They walk in supremely guarded. And we've talked about this a lot. I mean, full castle walls, everything, archers all pointed at you because apparently we're the enemy. Well, thank you, reputation and people of the past, for giving us the ability to have a bad rep when all we want to do is earn an honest living. Well, we're here to change that, because those customers, when they walk in garden, they're protecting the same things that you protect every single day. They're protecting their money, their time, their ego, and quite honestly, they're protecting their family from you. And they're scanning for every single risk that may pop up. If you think closing about convincing them, you are already misreading the emotional landscape of this whole darn thing. The real psychological job in discovery is this. The goals are to lower anxiety and increase purchasing certainty. That's it. When anxiety goes down, certainty naturally goes up. And when people feel safer, all of a sudden the profit goes up too. You see, when anxiety stays high and certainty stays fuzzy, buying just kind of feels dangerous. So real closers focus less on persuasion and more on emotional clarity. Discovery is not information gathering. Discovery is all about aligning emotionally with the individual that's sitting directly in front of you. And here's the shift. The average consultants, they ask surface questions and they don't go any deeper. Real closers out there look for anchors, those things that are below hot buttons. They keep the hot buttons connected to the soul. So here's some examples of some questions. Surface questions that'll come up by the quote-unquote closers that are out there. What kind of vehicle are you looking for? That's going to get some pretty vague answers, or you may get a very specific vehicle, but you're not going to get much information to build off of from there. But an anchor question similar to it that'll get you a lot more real estate is, what prompted you to start looking right now? They're going to tell you all about their journey, their research that they've done, and you're going to learn about them. And as people start to talk, they start to trust. Another surface question, how many miles do you drive? Ooh, wow. Now, I get it. If you're hunting for selling that EV, looking for the customer to save some money, this makes a whole lot of sense. But it has its place. You can't just throw it out there right off the bat. Maybe try this one, something that again, looks for that anchor. What is your commute like and what frustrates you about it? Again, you're going to get a lot more detail out of that. And it's going to be followed with emotion along the way and probably some good laughs about how terrible traffic is around town. Either way, good for rapport building. Another surface question. What features are important to you? Come on, you can do better than that. Here's an anger one to back it up. What would make you feel really confident driving this every day? You see the difference here? One collects data, the other creates meaning. And meaning is why people buy things. So while sitting down trying to come up with something to give you to really explain this and to help guide you along the way, here's a 5-part real closer discovery formula that I truly do hope helps you. Just give it a shot and see if it works for you. Write this down. Open the story up. Tell me what prompted you to start looking. And then after that, expose the friction. What is not working with your current vehicle? Find these emotional impact areas as well. How does that affect your day-to-day? And then paint the future state. If we fix that, what would change for you? Then the micro commitment close. So if we solve X and stay around Y, that makes sense, right? That last line, that's closing. It's not aggressive. It's not manipulative. It's clarity confirmation. It's allowing the person to know that you're on the same page. You're asking them for agreement on the problem and the solution criteria. By the time you get to the numbers, they are not deciding whether to buy. They're deciding whether this specific option fulfills what they already agreed matters. This is a major difference and why I will always and continually say that closing starts and ends during needs assessment, because if alignment's not there, everything falls apart. Let me show you 2 consultants. Consultant A, they greet well and they're friendly and they talk features, they highlight horsepower, tech, and rebates, and they clearly know their product. They avoid deeper questions because they don't want to feel intrusive. They get to the desk, the customer says, we need to think about it. Consultant A instantly goes ahead and blames price because apparently we can't be the issue. Consultant B learns the spouse's name, the kid's age, the commute length, the current vehicle frustrations, the budget comfort zone, their timeline. They ask, what is stressing you most about your current vehicle? They repeat back. So safety for your kids and reliability on your commute are just non-negotiable for you. The customer's going to nod and the customer's going to say yes. Consultant B says, if we found something that protects your family, makes your drive easier, and stays within the best budget you're comfortable with, that would check the boxes, right? And then the customer confirms, yes. Something kind of weird just happened here in needs assessment. You just closed before the test drive. When the numbers come, the consultant B is not going to be covering objections with numbers. They're going to be validating alignment along the way. And alignment sells itself because confidence is there. Here's a test that I used. If a customer leaves your desk and goes and talks to their spouse, can they clearly explain why the vehicle fits their life? Can they clearly explain what problems that this thing is going to solve to their spouse? Why this is a better alternative than what they may have possibly been looking at somewhere else? If they cannot articulate these items clearly, you did not close in discovery. All you did is info dumped. Congratulations, you followed the 1933 road to the sale. See, clarity is a pathway to comfort. If the customer is confused, they're going to stop talking to you. And this is why re-anchoring to what matters is a really big deal in what you do day to day. Because confusion will always kill confidence. And without confidence, nobody ever commits to anything. But let's be honest, discovery, it takes discipline. It takes patience. It's completely different from what we've learned in the past because it takes listening instead of talking. It requires sitting in complete silence sometimes, just kind of staring at each other. But be aware, silence makes inexperienced consultants nervous. They rush to fill it with features. But silence is feedback from the customer. When the customer goes quiet, something is happening internally. Real closers, they're going to probe gently with things like, hey, before we move forward, how are you feeling about everything so far? That question, it saves deals because it exposes hesitation early. When you surface concerns during the discovery stage, objections, they eviscerate later on. But when you ignore them, they will completely explode at the desk and start to chip away at your paycheck. Here's a practical takeaway. On your next 5 deals, give this a crack. Before you present numbers, get at least 3 verbal micro commitments from the customer. And here are some examples of what I mean. Agreement on the main problem. So the biggest issue is reliability, right? And let them answer. Agreement on the priority. Safety is more important than performance for you, right? And also agreement on the criteria. If we stay within the payment range, this is going to work. If you don't have 3 clear verbal yes moments in the discovery, do not expect a confident yes later. Micro commitments reduce macro resistance. That's psychology. That is also emotional alignment. That is closing before you actually even ask for the sale. So here's my challenge for you this week. Don't try to be a smoother closer. You're just taking money out of your pocket. And stop trying to memorize those closing lines. Nobody's ever giving you a book of magic words that will tell somebody, oh yes, here's all my money and my bank account number and here's my credit card and everything. It doesn't happen. They don't exist. If you're looking at one of those things, somebody clearly scanned your sales department. But instead, try this one. Be more precise in discovery. Just slow down a minute. Learn who the person is that you're talking to and ask one deeper question. And sit in silence for 1 extra second and confirm that alignment before you move forward. Also, watch what happens to your objection rates. Watch how much calmer you feel at the desk when talking to your manager about numbers. Confidence is not created in closing. Confidence is built in discovery. And customers feel that as soon as you start to enter into that part of the process. If this episode hit home, go back and audit the last 5 deals. See where hesitation showed up. Dig through your memory of what happened along the way. Was it really about the price, or was it just incomplete discovery and maybe we just landed on the wrong car and there was no alignment whatsoever? But if you found that this stuff is working for you, my email is andrew@autonerd.com. Please fire away. I'm here to help you. Any questions that you have, not a problem. Just go ahead and throw it on over. Because here at AutoNerd, we're here to help you out, help you to become the best version of yourself. Because in this industry, we have a culture that, if we define it by the past, it's not full of those closers. Because real closers, they don't push harder. They simply just listen deeper. So thank you for spending time with me today. Go out there, lower the customer's anxiety, raise clarity, and build trust. And just note, hey, here at AutoNerd, we're working on something big. We'll show it pretty soon. And we're here to help. So if you have questions, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you soon.